APAP and our members also benefit in a number of ways from the Wallace Foundation's Building Arts Audience Program. Several conference sessions were made possible by our partnership with the Wallace Foundation this year, where we focused on small and mid-sized performers and small and mid-sized organizations, and is a particularly popular element of each year's conference program, which is coming up next. The 5 Minutes to Shine competition is part of APAP's partnership with the Wallace Foundation, always a highlight of the awards luncheon. Before I move forward with the 5 Minutes to Shine, I want to just mention how individuals have played a role to make sure that our programs thrive and we're able to actually expand some of our programs. So I'd like to just have us show the individual donors that have made a significant contribution this year. If we could see that slide. Maybe not. Thank you to these individual APAP donors. Now, 5 Minutes to Shine. The high quality of the 5 Minutes to Shine presentations each year is due in no small measure to the excellent guidance and support of the editor of APAP's Inside Arts magazine, who also works on conference plenary sessions and oversees the month-long process of preparing for today's event. Please welcome Alicia Anstead. Alicia, please come out and introduce us to this year's winner of the 5 Minutes to Shine competition.
Thank you, Krista, and hi everyone. I'm Alicia Anstead, editor of Inside Arts and the storytelling coach for the 5 Minutes to Shine project. 5 Minutes to Shine is a rapid-paced storytelling format for showcasing big ideas drawn from all sectors of the membership. The guidelines for these unique presentations follow APAP's partnership with the Wallace Foundation to highlight the research and examples of effective audience building by arts organizations and presenters around the country and beyond. This morning, APAP hosted our 6th 5 Minutes to Shine session, and again, the audience selected a resonant story from among 6 presenters to share with you right now. Before I introduce our presenter, I want to mention each of the presenters whose stories compelled us all to think more deeply about building arts audiences. They are Homer Bryant of Hipley, Jim LaHaye at the University of Michigan University Music Society, Kirby Werchenko of the Broadway Theatre in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan in Canada, Shona McCullough at the New Zealand Dance Company, and Charlie Robin at Capitol Theatre in Yakima, Washington. Please join me in giving them a hand to Now it is my pleasure to introduce the 2019 5 Minutes to Shine storyteller. Please welcome Emily Colin of the Wilson Center at Cape Fear Community College in North Carolina.
Hey everybody, wow, what a room. So I promised Alicia I'm lowering the microphones. You all are witnesses. This is me doing it. Here I go. Hopefully this is good. If not, we'll know. So I'm so honored to be standing up here. I would be lying if I didn't say I was also more than a little bit intimidated. Wow, what a room. It's a week of firsts for me. It's my first time speaking to a room of this size. It's also my very first APAP conference ever. Wow, right? But I'll tell you something. Despite all of these firsts, and despite the fact that I'm standing up here and you all are down there, I don't feel alone. I feel so lifted up and so supported because I truly feel the power of we that you have been talking about throughout this entire conference. And here today, I happen to be standing here, but I wouldn't be standing here without Shane Fernando from my organization and Tim Robinson from Paul Taylor and all of you here that made this possible and all of the amazing other 5 Minutes to Shine speakers. Each one was incredible and we all have so much to share. So With that, Steve-O, let's get started. Okay, so it's April 2018. It's the very first week of my new job as Community Engagement Specialist at the Wilson Center, which is a 3-year-old, 1,500-seat theater that's part of Cape Fear Community College in southeastern North Carolina. And my executive director says, Paul Taylor Dance Company is going to do a Memorial Day performance called American Spirit. It's going to have a military theme, and Paul Taylor wants to run a promotional deal to make sure we have at least 500 seats filled. Okay, sounds fantastic, but then he says, they want to fill those seats with active military and veterans. Oh, and it's a partnership with the Folded Flag Foundation, which offers scholarships to the families of fallen soldiers. So we need to connect Folded Flag with military families who fit the bill. Active military, modern dance, those are two things that don't usually go together. And did I mention, y'all, we had just 9 weeks to make this happen. But we did have one thing on our side. North Carolina has a huge military community. Within an hour and a half of the Wilson Center, we've got an Army base, an Air Force base, a Coast Guard base support unit, a Marine Corps base. If any place could pull this off, we could, if we could get people to come instead of hanging out in their buddies' backyards grilling burgers. So, where to start? So we began by compiling a list of local military serving organizations. We knew that by asking them to reach out to their constituents about this performance, they'd be taking a risk. It was so different from what they normally do. But we also hoped that the trust between these organizations and the folks they serve would transcend the out-of-the-box nature of our request. So the next step was to get all of these organizations together in one room. So Shane Fernando, our executive and artistic director, had a great idea. Hold a luncheon on the Wilson Center's main stage, invite all of our prospective partners, including Tom Rankin, the operations manager for Folded Flag, and Tim Robinson, the director of tour engagement for Paul Taylor. Get everyone together, allow them to experience the Wilson Center, many of them had never been here before, and motivate our new partners to go back out into the world and start inviting veterans and active military. So, at the luncheon, Tom showed a brief video featuring children and spouses who'd lost family members in hostile action, and Tim showed clips from the Paul Taylor masterwork dances featured in American Spirit. Set to the music of the Andrews Sisters, Company B showcased the U.S.'s growing optimism and leadership at the dawn of World War II. Promethean Fire, which was created in the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks here in New York City, expressed the resilience of the human spirit in the face of disaster. Our partners, representing a wide array of military groups, left with a clear understanding of what the project was about and a message to share. This was new territory, but they instinctively felt as if they were part of something that was larger than just a dance performance, and they were excited to invite the people that they shared. Then the RSVP started rolling in. First a trickle, then a flood. The night of the show, I stood in the lobby and I watched the crowd come through our doors, old and young, families and single folks, Marines with crew cuts, veterans wounded in combat. This was not our usual audience. In fact, as we discovered later, many of them had never been to a theater before, let alone a modern dance performance. That night was unique for another reason. It was Michael Novak's first performance after Paul Taylor passed the torch to him as artistic director designate. And I sat in our packed theater that night. I watched the dance company take the stage. If you've ever been to a modern dance performance, you know the audience it's not typically effusive, right? But the folks who came to the Wilson Center that night, they were not your average modern dance crowd. They stood and they whistled and they clapped and they woo, like they were at a rock concert, and they gave the performance 6 standing ovations. And afterwards, one of the veterans in attendance said, "It was a very moving show, brought tears to my eyes." And one of the Gold Star mothers who'd lost her son in combat said, "All the veterans and their families were visibly moved. They felt honored to have this done for their benefit." Jameson and Bailey Donahue, they were students at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, and they took the stage mid-show. And their father, Michael Joseph Donahue, was killed in action in Kabul, Afghanistan in 2014. And as a result of this performance, the Donahues, as well as other children of fallen soldiers, were able to connect with Folded Flag. They are now scholarship recipients. So, when Shane Fernando first mentioned this project to me, I'm not gonna lie, I had my doubts we could pull it off, but this photo is the proof. In a brave new initiative, Folded Flag partnered with Paul Taylor to raise awareness of their programs in Wilmington, and we wrapped it into a dignified, elegant live performance that was designed to highlight the true spirit of Memorial Day. But we did more than that. We more than doubled our expected attendance. In fact, the audience in the packed theater that night surpassed 1,000, and it was the largest contemporary dance audience ever recorded in Eastern North Carolina. Thank you.